Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the 600 level. Boy, I struggle there. I'm Jose
Tongue twister.
Tawada alongside RJ Stacy. RJ, how you doing?
I'm good as always, man. How are you?
Good. Another interesting week to say the least, and I think I will start off by saying that division title for the Blue Jays is long gone.
Oh yeah,
Any
absolutely.
hopes of it were dashed. There was like maybe there's a window. There never was. So Jose was stupid. Here
Oh
we are
no,
a
we
week
had what
later,
1.2% chance of making the playoffs, of making of winning the AL
winning the
East.
division. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we had to talk about it.
Yeah, so it was yeah, so it'll be next to nothing. And we're recording before the start of tonight's start of the 4 game series against the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota. And of course, this may be uploaded tonight, Thursday night, or tomorrow, Friday morning. I think it'll be good for Thursday night, just before the start or during the Twins game. It's been interesting, especially the last 5 days. Sorry, not the last, but maybe the last 3 days have
Yeah,
been somehow ended up being a little controversial. And just when you thought that maybe we didn't have things to talk about, we did. And of course, at the time of this recording, just moments about a half hour ago, just announced that Valera's back from COVID.
yep.
He's active tonight. Thomas Hatch is being recalled from AAA, and that was very much needed. Saucedo to AAA and Jake Lamb DFA'd. So all the best to them.
I was kind of
As
surprised they DFA'd Jake Lamb. I'll be honest with you.
so am I.
I don't
It's
think he's that good of a player, but I was kind of surprised they got rid of him.
it was a nice it was like a nice little depth piece, I think, for the Blue Jays. I mean,
It's
y-
left-handed.
yeah, I mean, Valera's coming back, and obviously he's been a really hot bat. He's been very, I think, I want to say consistent. I kind of want to say consistent, especially with how crucial it's been for these Blue Jays to get into the spot where they are now. Now half a game back of the Yankees and the Red Sox in the wild card spots. But Thursday evening, the Sox and the Yankees both have an off day, so the Blue Jays have a chance to get back in this. Again, we're not sure when we're going to upload this, so they may have won already, or they may have lost.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think the first big thing that we absolutely need to talk about, everybody's been talking about it already. There's already a bunch of people spreading out podcast links or articles on it. The whole Kevin Kiermaier situation, which has been weird. It's been really, really weird to the point where Ryan Bourcki, struck Kevin Kiermaier with a pitch last night, to which the Jays fell 7-1. I think the final score was 7-1,
7-1 or
uh,
7-2. Yeah, they
losing
lost.
their first series since August, which is a hell of a thing to see. Since
Oh
mid-August, the
yeah.
first time they lost a series, 7 straight series wins. They eventually lose 2 out of 3 to the Rays.
We probably
And
lost to the Rays last time we lost the series too.
exactly. So I think you're right, actually.
Wouldn't
So
surprise me in the least if it was the Rays that we lost
So
to.
here we are now, and again, just announced like literally 3 minutes ago before we hit record, and then about an hour or so ago earlier, Charlie Montoyo suspended for 1 game because of the Bourcki pitch. Ryan Bourcki has been suspended 3 games, and for some odd reason, um, Kevin Kiermaier goes scot free, and I have to say, I don't know if I like that, only solely because of the reports that. Well, actually, let me break it down for fans. For those that, if you do not know, somehow do not know, or maybe if you're just a Blue Jays fan, or sorry, a non-baseball fan listening to our beautiful voices and wanting to get our take and just like listening to us. It all started when Kevin Kiermaier made a dash for the plate. He was safe. There was a little card inside Kirk's wrist guard or wristband
Like
that
his
slipped
pocket
out.
or something like that. I don't know where they
It
put
was
those
something, but
things.
on that little card that Kirk had was a scouting report, which essentially tells pitchers how to approach batters at the plate. Do you throw, like, for example, do you throw fastballs? Do you throw off speed? What location? It's essentially like it's a little cheat sheet, essentially, for
Yeah.
catchers so they can relay the signal to the pitchers. Kevin Kiermaier, in what we think, most Jays fans think, and what the video clearly states, was he took a look at it, took a good look at it, and saw what it was, and then snuck it away. Moments later, when the Blue Jays realized what happened and they sent the bat boy to go get it, allegedly they laughed at the ball boy and refused to hand the card back, which started this whole thing, which of course ended up, which of course the reports saying the Blue Jays were extremely furious, again rightfully so, and then which all led to Bourcki striking Kevin Kiermaier's back with the pitch. All these suspensions. Here we are now, all these days later. Do you think the suspensions are a right call? Do you think what Kiermaier did was the right call? And more importantly, RJ, what Kiermaier did in the first place, fair game or not?
So it's probably not fair game, but I'm not going to pretend if I was the guy rounding third, I wasn't going to pick that up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't be that guy if I was in the major leagues. It's all about getting a competitive advantage, and unfortunately, Alejandro Kirk left a competitive advantage in the dirt for the Rays. And it's not against the rules to pick up that card and go take it to your dugout with you and not give it back. It might be a dick thing to do,
Oh,
but it's
absolutely.
not against the rules, and there's nothing against getting a competitive advantage like that. On the flip side, I am not in any way surprised to see the Jays retaliate. I thought it was a little soft to do it when we were down 6 runs in the 8th inning. And I don't really like throwing at people to begin with. However, I fully back the team and the players on this one because I'll always back the Jays players and what they feel. I am not surprised by the suspension. He absolutely deserves to be suspended. He can say whatever he wants. He threw at him. It's not a lot. He's lying. He threw at him. I don't believe him for a second.
Yeah,
I
of
looked
course.
at a graphic that somebody put on Twitter, and it showed like Bourcki's career pitches, and it's by far the one that's that's farthest out to the that side of the plate. Like
Like
it's
ever. Like
very
he's
obvious
never
that he
went
hit him
there.
on purpose. The Montoyo one is kind of, it's not odd because it's an automatic suspension. So I mean, it's just part of the rules. But I would be shocked if Charlie Montoyo had anything to do with throwing at Kevin Kiermaier. I think that is a completely player-driven decision. I think that's something the players wanted to do, and Charlie had absolutely no interest in. I obviously don't know. I think that might be something that Pete Walker might have wanted to do as opposed to Charlie Montoyo. I
Maybe.
think they
And
have a different kind of mindset in that way where Pete's got a little bit more of an old school edge to him, and Montoyo kind of just likes to chill and he's a laid back kind of guy. So I'm kind of surprised in that way to see Montoyo get suspended because I'd be kind of surprised because, as he said, it was agua under the bridge.
under
So
the bridge. I love
I'm
that.
not sure. Clearly, it wasn't. So I'm not surprised we retaliated. I don't really like throwing at people, but I'll back it for the Jays in this situation because what Kiermaier did was kind of a garbage thing to do. But I'm not going to sit here on my high horse and pretend that I wouldn't do that too. So if the scenarios were flipped and the Jays were the ones stealing the card and they threw at us, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try as hard as I can not to be a biased hypocrite in this scenario
Yeah.
because
I mean,
if I slid into home plate, I'd probably pick the card up too.
I was saying, somebody asked me, one of my good friends asked me, "Hey Jose, how do you feel about Bourcki's ejection or suspension, or whatever, or ejection?" I think, and I told him the ejection was warranted. Like, what the hell are we doing? And you said it yourself, down 6 runs. It's not a good look on the team at
It's a
all.
weird look. Do it in the first inning if you really have to.
Yeah,
And I
or
don't
like
want you to do that because it's a game that we need to win. Sorry, continue.
no, exactly. And of course, I mean, like again, the bullpen were slaughtered. Ross Stripling is another thing we'll talk about, but it was a weird call. But what I will say is this team likes to show fight. Pete Walker likes to show fight. Montoyo
Absolutely.
doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Montoyo is not a fan of sticking. Well, I don't say he doesn't stick up for the team. I mean, like, when if he needs to get confrontational or if he needs to approach something, he really does, and he kind of sits back and be like, "Well, that happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense." Like, and I can understand maybe wanting to see fans who really want to see a lot of fire from Montoyo, kind of like John Gibbons or even maybe Cito Gassi. They really want to see that aggressiveness from the manager, not that bit of a pushover, but it is what it is. I want to go back to what Buck Martinez said on the Blue Jays broadcast on Sportsnet the day after it happened, the day after Kiermaier picked up the card, and he said, "Well, imagine if the Oakland Raiders, who obviously not Oakland, imagine the Oakland Raiders saw that their opponent's team, the opponent they're facing saw the opponent's playbook in the middle of the field. What would you do as a player? You'd pick it up, and you want to see what plays
For
are on
sure.
that book for the competitive advantage." And I'm a Patriots fan. I'm a Pats fan. There is
Jose
playbook,
knows cheating.
but yeah, there's playbook like controversy around the Patriots. I'm a diehard fan. I've been a diehard fan since '06 because of a video game, because of Madden '07. I love the Pats. I have 3 Super Bowl banners hanging on my ceiling. That doesn't mean I don't condone what they did. I thought it was the stupidest thing the Patriots could do, and I felt like the team was so good they didn't even need it in the first place. I mean, ironically, like after like that, the first spike. I hate to say that there's a first. The first spike in 2007, the Patriots ended up going the perfect season, except for the Super Bowl, of course. But again, teams look for that competitive edge. It's a common nature.
It's why people were stealing signs. Like people are
Exactly.
trying to find that edge. Baseball's a hard sport.
It's
hard to hit.
exactly, and like, and I know people say like, oh, just create better signs. Like, there's some really ignorant. I sound really ignorant people. Why you have it on a card? Just create better signs. It's so easy. I'm like, you are not on the mound. You are not on the base
Yeah.
pads. It's one of the toughest things, and if your signals can easily get taken care of, bye bye, it's over. So, and I will say this, that like RJ said, if I see that on the floor, of course, why not? You're like, well, may as well do it, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, and obviously, it you can argue that it was just a freak accident. I'm pretty sure Alejandro Kirk was taking care of that thing a lot, and again, it was in his, I believe it was a wristband. It's just a freak accident. It just happened to just slip out.
Yeah.
There's
You
it's
went to
like
tag him and it fell out.
it just happened the way that it
Yeah.
did. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the Jays retaliate. I kind of wish they moved on. I mean, even if they were winning, it was like, if it was like, yes, like the day before and not yesterday, like right after, oh, okay, right? It's, but the fact that it happened on the last game of the series, it was the first game of the series, right? That went down, and the fact that it
I
happened,
think it might have been the day after we did hit them.
I can't, or maybe you're right. Sorry,
I
maybe you're
think it
right.
was the day after.
I'm getting my days mixed
I
up.
could be
So
wrong though, honestly, man. It's been a long week.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, exactly. And I think that if the team had to do that, yeah, do it right away. Just get out of the way, because you're pissed off. And obviously, Kevin Kiermaier went on record saying he wants the Jays in the playoffs. What most likely would be the American League Divisional Series if the Blue Jays get there, let alone if they make the playoffs. But it was just tacky. And as a Jays fan, I guess now we can move on for this, and
Yep.
now you gotta refocus now. If that lit a fire under the team for the final week and change, essentially final week, then
Exactly.
so be it. How many games are left?
We had 10 games left, I believe.
It is. We are that close, and I think that was a good time to transition to what's left for the team. Like I said at the top of the episode, a half game back from the wild card spots. Tonight starts a 4-game series against the Minnesota Twins, who the Blue Jays tore apart. I should not say tore apart, but they took care of them last weekend.
Yep.
2 out of 3. Now they have the 4-game series. They're off on Monday, the 28th to the 30th, a crucial series against the New York Yankees before the Blue Jays finish up against Baltimore in that 3-game series. It is next week is going to be as crucial as ever. So RJ, how many wins do you think it'll take, and do you think you have to set yourself up for a sweep against New York to get to that playoff spot?
So I would say, first of all, these are the most important 10 games in what, 6 years, 5 years?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd say probably since 2016, 2015, maybe in that final stretch in August,
probably
September.
More important than 2016. It was a better team than 2016. So I would even call it more important than 2016 because we didn't have a chance to win the championship in 2016. This is a very good baseball team. So I'm going to say that this is the most important series. Geez, call it since 1993 because we didn't even win the World Series in 2016. So 15. So we'll call it the most important series in a very long time. But I don't think they need to sweep the Yankees, but they absolutely need to win that series, and they absolutely need to win every series they have left. The Yankees are currently half a game ahead of the Jays.
Yeah.
The Yankees also have a series against the Red Sox,
which starts tomorrow night. I was just about to bring that up. I mean,
so
before the Yankees start a crucial series with the Blue Jays, they got this, and the Red Sox as well are also hoping to fight, and not to be unnoticed, because again, this is still crucial. The Rays are not as close as people think to locking up the division. The Red Sox are only 6 games back. If the Red Sox and the Yankees battle it out and the Rays lose a couple games, all of a sudden this turns to from a wild card race to a divisional race, because again, it's tighter than people think. Of course, by the way, the Rays,
it's tough.
It's tough, but
it's tough.
The Rays
got to lose a lot.
The Rays' magic number, by the way, is 4. The Jays and the Yankees 2 games before they're eliminated for the divisional series. It's very possible. It is very, very doable. But assuming that the Rays kind of mess up this weekend, which I don't think they will, because who do they face this weekend? They face the Marlins. For the love of God, if the Yankees and the Sox beat each other up, the Rays should. I think the Rays will clinch the division this weekend.
The Red Sox would have to sweep the Yankees, which would be amazing. With where the Red Sox are at in the standing right now, I am team Red Sox in that series.
Oh, for sure.
Red Sox. I would prefer to pass the Yankees and be the wild card too, as opposed to cheer for them to beat each other up and then have us maybe win out to be the first wild card. whatever gets the Jays into the playoffs.
Yeah.
If the Red Sox, if we got to go into Fenway Park in the wild card game and beat the Red Sox, that is so be it. I'm a Red Sox fan for the Red Sox versus Yankees series. F the Yankees. They suck. I would prefer the Red Sox to make the playoffs over them anyway. Like, just no Yankees wins.
I
Red
think
Sox sweep, and then we'll know exactly where we stand.
I think also
in
of
the
note
Yankee
this
series.
that we're back to our. I mean, it's weird to say this, but we're back to MLB's back to their original playoff format before the pandemic, in which it's a 1-game wild card. It is not a 3-game series. I know all the wild card series was a 3-game series to eventually move on to the respective divisional series, but it's one and done now. Back to one and done. So, and that's what makes these series crucial. If the Yankees do get swept or lose 2 out of 3, they are in huge trouble. It's not pretty, and I think the Jays can take advantage of that because the Yankees have just been up and down and just concerning.
Jays are a better team than the Yankees. I'll say that with 100% confidence.
Yeah.
They're not on the same level. The Yankees have worse hitting, worse pitching, and a worse defensive team than the Jays. The Jays are just better. I can't even describe it in any other way. And I know I kind of sound like a homer saying that, but
No.
I just don't see – I know that it's a big series and I know it could go either way, but it feels like a sweep would be a disappointment, or sorry, not a sweep, a split would be a disappointment for the Jays because I feel like at this point in time, they're clicking on so much of a higher level than the Yankees that they really have no business splitting that series.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I think if you had to quote unquote afford or buy losses for the Jays this weekend, it's one. A second one would be really, really ugly, especially with the day off on Monday.
Yeah.
With the day off on Monday, and mind you, if I'm not mistaken, well, the Yankees are also off on Monday before the Jays, the Yankees speak. And I think another of note is that the Jays close the season at home.
Yep.
Could it be what the Jays need? I guess the home field advantage to maybe potentially seal that spot.
Yeah. So we got four in Minnesota, then 3 and 3 at home, right?
This is the last road series.
Yeah. So it's back to the Yankees and Orioles for six games straight at home.
Yep.
So what? They could easily go 6-0 in those games. Screw the Yankees. If they can, so they got 4 games against the Twins. You have to go 3-1 here. You can't split against the Twins.
You cannot.
That's bad. Splitting against the Twins would be bad. You need to go 3-1 here. You need to at least go 2-1 against the Yankees. And then if that's the case and the Yankees have lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox, then the Jays are in perfect scenario because they don't even have to sweep the Orioles at that point, but the Jays should sweep the Orioles. But I mean, I said that last time they played the Orioles too, and the Orioles have just been giving everybody weird fits lately because they hit pretty well, but like the Orioles still shouldn't be.
And I mean, I think the other note is that like the Jays' magic number, or at least for the Yankees and the Red Sox, with the standings that they are, the magic number for a clincher is 10, which means that this could very well go down. It may. I'm not saying it will, because of this crucial Yankees Red Sox series, but this may be a day 162 scenario, which
could be 163. You could have to play a play-in to get into the play-in,
which would be a very it's exciting baseball nonetheless. I want to switch gears because obviously we know like how crucial it's going to be, but I think we don't do this justice if we don't talk about Ross Stripling and how ugly it's gotten for Ross Stripling. And I mean, last night was, or like yesterday, she said not last night. Yesterday was not pretty.
It was bad.
Not pretty to say the least. He went an inning and a third, 5 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, a walk, allowed a homer, and got yanked immediately when he was supposed to go 3 innings. And even before then, it's just, I mean, his outing against Minnesota was a little better. 3 innings, a run came in, 2 hits allowed, but it's not, even like against Baltimore on September the 11th, 3 earned runs. Do you see a playoff spot? So assuming that the Jays make it there, because we may as well start somewhat hypothetically talking roster, because I think it's warranted because of the race that the Jays are in. Playoff spot for him or not?
So I think you'd really have to break it down to where. First, he's not going to be a starter, that's for sure.
Oh, hell no.
But we kind of have to break it down to what's the bullpen going to look like. So obvious bullpen guys are going to be like Romano's going to be there. I mean, the obvious bullpen guys that we have now. And then who would you rather, bring on? Thomas Hatch or, Ross Stripling? I think Hatch probably should have started yesterday. I think that they're calling him up a day late.
Yep.
Personally.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, he's probably going to be in the bullpen come playoff time. And then there's some other young arms that have performed better than Ross Stripling too. So you just give Ross Stripling this spot because, he was a decent starter in the beginning of the season. Do you even give Hyunjin Ryu a spot on the roster? I know we don't really want to talk about him right now. We're talking about Stripling.
You have to. I think you have to. I'm someone in the I have somewhat of the belief of that this injury that Ryu is on, obviously was retroactive. He should be coming back in the next few days or so.
This is phantom.
Sorry?
It's a phantom injury.
Maybe he just needed
Just needs a rest. This guy's been garbage for a month. Let's just give him a little. Oh, he was hurt the whole time.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
I hope he was actually like struggling something. He wasn't just sucking for a month. But
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully he comes back healthy and is the AC he's kind of needed to be.
Of course, for the we were talking about who would be in the bullpen. It would most likely be Bourcki, at least at the time now. Bourcki, Castro, Simber, Hatch, Meza, Merriweather, Pearson, who I think has settled nicely in so far.
For sure.
Trevor Richards and Romano, like you said, and Saucedo just went back, and Snead, or both of them in the minors. So it's not. It does feel for Stripling a little out of place. Right, because I presume that Matz is going to be I'm presuming Matz is going to get a start in some shape or form. I mean, ideally, if we were to go, you're a 3-man rotation. You are going probably most likely Ryu, Barrios, and Manoah.
Yes, very likely.
Most likely.
I think you could really do. I mean, the first two are locks. I think you could do a lot with that third, fourth spot. You could piggyback the two of them. If it's a left-handed heavy lineup, you could kind of open with somebody and then go to Matz. I think they're just like last year. They used Ray for 3 innings and Shoemaker for 3 innings. They could easily go with, Matz to open for 3-4 innings and then go right to Manoah for 4 innings after that to kind of save a bullpen guy. I think they could use a lot of guys because I think Manoah and Matz are both kind of pitching at a level that you want them on the mound in the playoffs.
Especially Manoah. You got to.
Matz has been very good too, man. Like I don't want to undersell Matz at all. And Manoah
I don't want to either, but
he's got control issues still.
I just really want to emphasize Manoah and what he's done as a rookie, and his mentality just kind of feels like he is ready for a playoff spot. Who would you start in the wild card game again, assuming the Jays make it?
Oh, I mean, you have to go with Ray if he's available.
Right. Well, actually, that's a given.
The idea. So, I mean, he's actually. The math has been kind of played out. Ray started 2-3 nights ago.
About.
It'll go Ray, and then Ray's got 2 starts remaining.
Mm-hmm.
One will likely be against the Yankees, if I remember correctly, and he is lined up for the wild card game currently. Robbie Ray is currently lined up for the wild card.
I just want to say, I know I said Ryu, Manoah, Barrios. You got to throw in Ray. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Obviously, you got to throw Ray in that.
I'm pretty sure you said Ray, not Ryu.
No, I said Ryu.
Oh, did you?
That was a bad idea. It was Ray. I 100% realized. No, Ray. Robbie Ray.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly what you're talking about. I mean, if Ryu's healthy, I don't know what they do with him because his stuff doesn't even play up in the bullpen. He doesn't throw very hard, so he kind of has to start for you if you want to use him.
Let's not forget this guy was signed as our ace. I think the only option is it is
short leash for him for sure. But
short leash is not about it.
You paid him all the money to be this guy when you get to the playoffs. I would be surprised if they kind of just like F him. Like I'm pretty sure they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know what I would do with Hyunjin Ryu. I can't even describe
I say
what I
he
would do.
stays in the rotation, but he stays in a rotation
with a very short leash.
Yeah, the short leash is right.
Like a very short leash, like with Manoah ready to go, like right behind him. Because if you are starting Ryu, then one of Manoah and Matz is not going to be in the rotation. They have to be used out of the pen. So you got to be creative, and the Jays have the arms for sure. They have guys in their minor leagues. Like Hatch is going to get called up. I think he's major league ready too. He can pitch out of the pen a couple innings as well. They got guys.
Yeah, like
they got 2 aces.
Yeah, I think I don't see Sororia getting time. I don't see Stripling anymore getting time. But yeah, Hatch, Pearson, Merriweather, I think they can easily step up. And I think bullpen days are just not a good.
Not in the playoffs.
No. Well, no. Aside from the playoffs, I think bullpen days are just not. It's not a good indicator to what the team can be because it's just such a weird situation for it to happen. And obviously, having a bullpen day this late is just not ideal. And that again, the injury to Ryu just shot in the foot in this case, and so I think that would be ideal. But yeah, I think for guys like Ross Stripling, I don't see it. I'd be shocked if I saw him get some time or even like has like a little spot. But
But with off days in the playoffs, you really don't even need all those extra arms too. Like
no,
you're gonna have,
which is a good thing.
like we saw back in 2015. Price started one game, and then three games later, he's coming out of the pen.
Yeah, it works. It
And
works
R.A.
out.
Dickey would start a game, and then they ask him the next day, "Hey, you ready to go tomorrow?" Of course, I'm ready to go tomorrow.
It's the playoffs.
So I mean,
It's a different ball game.
It's all hands on deck. What, Bumgarner started 3 games in a 7-game series, like when they won the World Series a long time ago. Like Robbie Ray is gonna be ready to go.
Bumgarner in 2014 came in the last like 3 innings of Game 7 of the World Series, and then obviously locked that up.
Yeah, he was amazing because 7-game series, all hands on deck. I got the whole offseason rest. Robbie Ray is gonna get used a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
and I think he can take it too.
Pitcher.
Like I don't think people would worry about how much you use Ray. If anything, you obviously bring him all hands on deck.
Ray and Berrios have been horses all year. These guys could throw as many innings as you need them to.
Yeah.
Berrios has gone 200 plus innings like at least twice or 3 times in his career already. Like he's ready to go. And Ray has gone up to 120, 130 pitches at least once or twice this year. Like they're ready. But it's just, do we trust the management to use them properly and put the proper rotation and roster kind of out there?
I would argue, and I think that's a great topic to cap off, because I've been seeing on social media some people starting to think that Charlie Montoyo is not manager of the year.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not. I don't think so, because there was especially, I think like a lot of, I think even last year, especially down the stretch before the playoff appearance and before the one-off playoff appearance in 2020, and then even midway, especially let's say in probably May or April, that the decisions that Montoyo makes, especially with the bullpen, have not been ideal. But again, 7 straight series wins kind of says a lot, and I do think that aside from the bats, going absolutely insane, I do think that the management of the bullpen has been especially good. He's been
better.
It's better. He's been finding the right pitchers to use in situations. There's no like pitchers like, let's say like a Dolis, for example. Well, I know Dolis is gone, but I'm saying that Dolis was used in really weird, ugly, high leverage situations. It feels like Montoyo knows when to use his bullpen in the right situations. And mind you, obviously a lot of lopsided wins will make that easier.
Yep.
But I do think that there's just a bit of a balance, and I do kind of trust that especially if there's a deep playoff run, and like you said, RJ, with the mix of days offs, a fair amount of times, that I do think that Montoyo is up for it, and obviously Pete Walker's a godsend with what he does with pitching staffs. So I kind of think that they'll be okay. I think I would trust them this late if it's been working again for 7 straight series. I know like the setback in the bullpen day was just a mess because, again, like just Ross Stripling just struggling to find like location with his pitches, and easily predictable. Again with his mixes, but I kind of trust them.
I struggle with Charlie Montoyo so much.
Oh, we all do.
I want to love him so badly. Like
everybody
I want him to be the best manager in the world, but I just struggle with him so much because he does so many head scratching things on game day. Like Reese McGuire playing twice a week is just like, why? Jared Dyson playing twice a week is just like, why? There's a reason why we grab these guys. Playing Jake Lamb too much, they probably DFA'd him so he didn't have to start all the time. Like, it's just, Montoyo just does really weird things. I think he's managed his bullpen better lately, for sure. I think a lot of people were calling for his job at the All-Star break, and I think he's kind of improved his usage of the bullpen a lot. For sure. I don't think Montoyo's getting fired. Like, I don't think he's ever getting fired. I'll say that right now.
I don't think he's warranted a firing, especially because
I disagree with that. I'm not gonna lie.
No, well,
I think he's a pretty poor strategic manager.
Look. Let me rephrase, because I mean, yeah, I was also, I mean, especially the All-Star break, I'm saying, okay, he's got to go, but the fact that the team can get this close, like in this heat, and it happened last year too, how like the race and everything, to me, it's like they're gonna keep him solely for that, and it just kind of feels like there's false hope or false like an ideology of like, which is why some people may think that Charlie Montoyo's a good manager, because some of the lineup decisions are questionable. There's some of the obviously the use of
the bunting drives me crazy.
The what?
The bunting drives me crazy.
It's insane. The
bunting absolutely drives me crazy. When he pinch hit for somebody to bunt, like I wanted him fired that second.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But again, I feel like I just think that when you look at the overall picture and you see where they are, that's why I feel
Yep.
like he's gonna keep his job. And I think like the only time he would be let go is if a contract's about to expire and then they want to go a
Yep.
different route. But they stay in these races again a year earlier than once again. It feels weird to saying that we're a year earlier than anticipated because again by the All-Star break we're all saying let's get ready for 2022. Let's just see how this
Yep.
plays out. Let's hope we can re-sign the right guys and then because we were saying we're almost there. We just need a key piece. All of a sudden, the All-Star break comes in and now it's somewhat turned into 2015 in the sense that they just made moves for a playoff push.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see how it works. And here we are now, which is why I kind of feel like although all of that just helps out Montoyo to stay at the helm and
Yeah.
I don't see him going anytime soon. I will say this: if the Jays were in a worse situation, then maybe. And actually, here's another question for you: because of now the expectation is now playoff. Does he go or does he like does is he considered to be fired if they don't make it because they obviously don't consider it a failure? And I think fans as well at this rate because of how close we are, people are gonna say, well, shit, I may as well let him go because he technically failed and we were right there, like we were at the doorstep.
So my kind of like last little piece on Montoyo is I don't think he's getting fired no matter what. Like if we don't make the playoffs, I think we weren't really expected. Like I don't think management, like upper management, like the Shapiros, expected us to necessarily be a playoff team this year. So I think that's almost unfair to Montoyo in a sense that if we don't make the playoffs, he's just immediately fired. I think that he's done some head scratching things that warrants it to be a decision. I do not think he is the manager of the year in any way because he has made way too many head scratching decisions
Too
in
many.
games. However, I am as much as I am a fan of Montoyo. I think he's the coolest guy ever. I love the guy. I'm not a fan of his managing ability. However, I am very at peace with him sticking around because, as you said, like we're winning ball games, and I've always kind of thought that you can win baseball games despite your manager because the Jays have the best offense in the world, and if they score 10 runs, Charlie doesn't have to do shit.
Nope.
So, I mean, I've always thought you can win despite your manager. I think that Charlie Montoyo, a very big reason why I'm cool with him sticking around is because dude is the coolest, nicest, most level-headed cat in that clubhouse, and I think he is a very big reason why we have the tightest knit clubhouse in baseball. I think that the boys absolutely adore that man. I think that he is good for team morale. I think he's good for the clubhouse. I think he's crappy on game day, but I think that's something that we're absolutely going to have to put up with because the camaraderie in the clubhouse is so strong that I feel like maybe moving on from Charlie to somebody else might actually
Might
hurt the
damage them. And
team.
of course, I mean,
And the
and
Jays are a blast.
and
Charlie's
it's
putting fucking jacket on people.
yeah,
Like
it's fun,
team
and
morale is like crazy.
I think it's funny. I don't, and it's funny that people, for some odd reason, it feels like people overlook the morale because they just focus on the production on the field, whether good or bad, and it just because it doesn't matter. Being like, obviously, yeah, you can say that there's more to it, to anything in baseball, to anything. Like if you have a
Yep.
group of guys that like each other, you have a group of guys that back each other up, and I mean, obviously, you can say Baraki does what
Exactly.
he
And that
did,
and that's kind
right?
of why I'm for it because Brucky's like, you know what? The boys want to fucking hit him with the pitch. So I'll hit him with the pitch. And this is gonna light a fire on them. So I mean, as much as I don't like throwing at people, he's doing it for the team.
He's doing, yeah. So yeah, you can see that this team works, and if it does start at Charlie Montoya, then you know what? I mean, I guess I can give him a pass, but I
I'd be
think
surprised if that was a Montoya decision.
I know. I'm just saying. No. My point is, I'm just saying that if let's say if let's go with your thought. If of course it is, if Montoya, I mean, I guess you can say that Montoya can bring like that energy, the morale. I know that the team does it as well among each other, but with Montoya, I feel like that can only go for so long.
For sure.
And again, I would not be surprised. Again, I don't think so either. Like you said, RJ, that regardless if the team fails to make the playoffs or not at the doorstep, it don't think it costs Montoyo. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least a conversation
The
about it.
questions
Or if we
start getting
hear
asked, for sure.
if we start to hear it. But
I think we're starting to hear it already though, but there's always going to be that group of people that want Montoya gone no matter
of
what.
course, and it's the same with the group of people that want to Gibby gone, and yet they made back-to-back playoff appearances deep into
Those
the
guys want Gibby back now, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, deep into the ALCS, I was always a Gibby fan. I loved Gibby, and I think I knew that like with the team dynamic changing and essentially about to enter a new era, which you can say we are in now with the Blue Jays, that Gibby may most likely would not have been there. But I don't think you can argue that Gibby was not good for the team because again, I mean, I thought that Gibby worked and Gibby definitely lit a fire under the guys as well with with how he stepped up for the team in many situations and getting himself ejected to again leading them to a game 5 in the ALCS and the year before game 6 of the American League Championship Series. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I was actually gonna say I think this might have been a fake quote, but did you see that John Gibbons might be trying to get back into baseball?
I hope so. Again, I love Gibby. Give me Gibby guns all day.
Have him as there as a bench coach, just sitting on there, chewing on his seeds, just like
I would
having
be
a good
fine with that.
time.
I think a bench would be a good idea, but I and I'm biased because he helped this team give me some playoff memories. But I think Gibby in any clubhouse, I think it'd be a fun time. Just don't ask Ted Lillard.
I would love to have a beer with Gibby. Dude looks like a blast to be around.
Exactly.
He
But
looks
I
like the
think we're
funniest
gonna
guy in the world.
I think we're gonna leave it at that. So thank you so much for watching. You can catch me at Tabuada93. You can catch RJ at RJ
Stacy 13.
RJ 13. We will see you guys next week, and by the time we come back next week, we'll see where we are. But it's going to be a very very fun, a very very fun final week in Major League Baseball. We'll see you guys next week. See ya.